by the governor and 6 others for lacking in merit. The court also awarded 50 million naira as cost against Makinde and the other appellant to be paid to the ex-council chief led by Bashir Majid Bosuajuo. In the lead judgment, Justice Dalami Senchi held that there was no dispute as to the amount that constituted the judgment debt. Justice Senchi also faulted the appellant's contention that the ex-council chief failed to first obtain the consent of the Oyo State Attorney General before initiating a garnishee proceeding to seize the state fund to settle the judgment debt. Now, the judge said asking the ex-council chief to first seek and obtain the consent of the Oyo State Attorney General, who is one of the judgment debtors, amounts to making him to be a judge in his own case, which requirement, I should say, is unfair to the judgment creditors. So, begin the conversation with a look at this judgment, which are affirmed by the Court of Appeal yesterday. We'll also look at it in the larger context of how state governors usually handle their local government affairs in their states. Keep in mind that this whole thing emanated from how the council chairmen were sacked on the 29th of May 2019, and they went to court to seek redress, and since then the legal tussle has been on. 4.9 billion naira judgment debt. A part of it was paid. Now the judgment creditors went to court. The court has ruled in their favor, compelling the state government to ensure the payment of the judgment debt plus 50 million naira in cost for the case that was dismissed for lacking in merit. Let me begin by bringing on Professor Remi Ayede of the University of Ibadan, Department of Political Science. Prof, good to have you. Good morning. Yeah, can you hear me, Prof? Oh, I think we're having problem with your audio. Let's see if we can. Hello, Prof. Oh, okay. These things happen, These things happen. But anyway, the judge ordered them to pay the remaining 2 billion at 500 million naira quarterly, with the first installment payable on July 31st. A decision Makinde and others had actually challenged at the Court of Appeal. It is the April 27 ruling by Justice Ebong that the Court of Appeal affirmed in the judgment delivered on Friday. Now, rather than comply with the initial judgment given by the Federal Capital Territory High Court, the Yossi government paid only 1.5 billion, prompting the judgment creditors to initiate that garnishing proceeding against the governor and others before the High Court of the FCT. As I said, we'll be looking at this in the context of, local government administration in the country and how well we can have a proper government at the grassroots level, as against what we have now, with many people saying that the local government have been overtaken by the state governors. Also, we'll be joining Chief Nia Kintola SEN later on the show to look at some of the issues that have been thrown up about the election, the judgment of the court, especially the position of the Labour Party regarding the judgment of the Supreme Court and the certified true copy. In fact, I have a clip from Kenneth Okonkwo of the Labour Party here reacting to some of the issues raised by the party. They say the Supreme Court is yet to give a verdict regarding their own petition against the victory of the president. I will listen to that, and hopefully would have sorted out the technical issue we're having with Prof on the show. Don't go away.
Safa saphela isizwe simnyama iwasafa isizwe saba kavula mo alitshaleni kokhelize wemaye wemodo safa saphela isizwe simnyama iwasafa isizwe saba kavula mo alitshaleni kokhelize.
We confirm that we received the CTC of the judgment. Our legal team alerted us to this. Let me also confirm that the lead judgment as delivered by Justice John Inyango Koro was exactly what he announced at the court. And then, while saying this, it will be important to educate us on what constitutes a legal and constitutional judgment by any court. First of all, the court has no power to insert in its written judgment any decision that it did not announce in the court. And I'm talking about section 36, subsection 3 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. If a court does that, it has egregiously infringed on the fundamental human right of a party to fair hearing. The section provides every proceeding of the court, including the decision of the court, shall be announced in the open court, and that's pronounced. Then, by section 294, subsection 1, every decision of the court must be in writing, meaning whatever you are pronouncing or announcing in the court must have been in writing. And after that, the court becomes functus officio. You do not have any right to add or remove anything on it. I want to point out also that any court that is constituted by more than a judge means that the decision of the court will now be done by majority of the members. The Supreme Court was constituted by 7 judges in our appeal, and the leading judgment was very clear. They said every issue in Obi's case has been, according to Justice Muhammad Lawal Gaba, he said, has been comprehensively, completely, effectively, and totally dealt with in Atiku's case. And there was no reason for them to reiterate anything again. That was what Justice Inyang said. And he even went further to berate the appellants that they ought not to have even brought issue 4. Because, according to them, in the earlier case of PDP and INEC, they have taken decision. Now, reading the entire CTC judgment of the 7 judges, I was surprised to see some issues in the judgment of 3 justices of the Supreme Court that was not announced in the court. I was there in the court. The issue of forfeiture of $460,000 US, which was proceeds of narcotics. Now, this is the Broadway judgment goes. In any judgment that involves majority of judges, they must sit before the judgment day. They will elect the person that will write the leading judgment. And in that leading judgment, all issues must be decided. And it is when more numbers of the judges concur to the issues, that is how leading judgment comes. Now, those 3 judges that wrote the forfeiture issue in their judgment, where did they get that issue from? Because it was never mentioned in the leading judgment. Because you either concur or you dissent. Now, assuming without conceding that they even announced it, 3 justices, they are minority. Because it would have been better they didn't even mention anything about it. So does it mean now that the majority of the judges have now ruled against the 3 judges?
Yes, you heard excerpt of that interview granted by Kenneth Okonkwo of Labour Party, raising very serious issues concerning, what was written in the certified true copy of the Supreme Court verdict and what was read in that lead judgment by Justice Inyango Koro when the victory of Bola Ahmed Tinubu was affirmed a few weeks ago. As I said, we'll be joining Chief Niya Akintola SCN later on the show as well to get his thought on some of these issues. We'll also be trying to sort out the technical glitch so we can get connected again to our in-house panelist, Professor Emi Ayede and Barrister Yomi Ogunlola as well. We'll take a short commercial break. When we'll get back, we'll be continuing the conversation on the show. Don't go away.
Safa sapeli sizo simnyama Iwasafa
Isizo saba
Kavula mo
Anichaleni
Kelize Wemaye wemodo Safa sapeli sizo simnyama Iwasafa
Isizo saba
Kavula mo
Anichaleni Kelize.
You're listening to 32 FM 94.9.
Ojúlọ́bàárà Aba Capsule, ìmọ́lẹ̀ ló dá òkùnkùn ò dá, Ọlọ́run má sọ wá sókùnkùn ayé. Àmì o, Ojúlọ́bàárà Aba Capsule, ilé-iṣẹ́ authentic television ló gbé jáde.
Ìmọ́lẹ̀ dé òkùnkùn parada. Ojúlọ́bàárà Aba Capsule. Ojú ni ìmọ́lẹ̀ ara. Èdùmàrè má gbòde ọ̀sán lọ́wọ́ wa. Àkànṣe gbòógì tá a fi mọ̀ ìjìnlẹ̀ ṣe fún ìtọ́jú ìmọ́lẹ̀ tí ò mọ́lẹ̀ kedere. Tàbí tó ń wò báyìí. Ojúlọ́bàárà Aba Capsule. Egbògi oníkóró ni NAFDAC ìlú ló ń tẹ̀ gbà. Authentic clear vision ló ṣe é. Ó wà ní chemist àti pharmacy stores lágbègbè rẹ̀. Ẹ tún lè ríra lọ́fíìsì Authentic clear vision. Tó wà business complex. Lẹ́gbẹ̀ẹ́ Amidu Ajibade shopping complex Gate Ìbàdàn. Àǹfààní ńlá wà fún alágbàtà tó ń kó ní pálípálí. Ẹ pè
081-4254-3127. 081-4254-3127.
Ojúlọ́bàárà Aba Capsule. Tí o bá sí àyípadà bó o ṣe fẹ́, tètè lọ rí dókítà rẹ o.
Ojúlọ́bàárà Aba Capsule, ilé-iṣẹ́ authentic television ló gbé jáde.
Ìgbádùn òpin ọdún dé. This holiday season, embark on a magical journey with your loved ones as Online Dynamics, in partnership with Whispering Palms, presents the Christmas Adventure between 24th to 27th December at Badagry, Lagos. Jẹ́ ìgbádùn tó lẹ́tìkẹ́ pẹ̀lú olólùfẹ́ rẹ àti ẹbí rẹ. Get ready to enjoy train ride party, boat cruise, bonfire, and lots more. Online Dynamics lábẹ́ ètò pàtàkì Migration Travel and Tours máa ń bá ní ṣe ètò lọ sí ìlú òkèrè. Ètò yìí wà fún àwọn akẹ́kọ̀ọ́ àti òṣìṣẹ́ tí wọ́n fẹ́ láti kàwé tàbí ṣiṣẹ́ ní Canada, USA, UK tàbí ìlú èyíkéyìí tó bá wù wọ́n ní Europe. Once you register and embark on the Christmas adventure with us, you're qualified for the year 2024 international travel opportunity to Europe, America, and Canada. To register, visit our office at MTG number 7, Adibati Abebi Crescent, off Idishi Police Station, Jericho, Ibadan. Visit our Oshobo branch at Oralama Office, 25 Oyedokun Street, Agowande, Oshobo. You can call 0810-273-8145 or WhatsApp 0803-242-9497. Take advantage of this rare opportunity. Join the wise today. Online Dynamics Limited.
wò ó kí oyè
Òǹtolúwa sọ nípa mi o. Àṣẹ.
wò ó kí oyè kùsẹ́ǹtì pẹ̀lú àjọṣepọ̀ ẹgbẹ́ àjùmọ̀ṣe onígbàgbọ́ CAN Ọ̀yọ́ ló ń ṣègbékalẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́ prophetic power crusade lábẹ́ àkòrí kí ìjọba rẹ dé their kingdom come Matthew 6:10 ọjọ́ Sunday 10 sí Wednesday 13th December 2023 ní Methodist Cathedral Event Center Ọ̀yọ́ Ògbómọ̀ṣọ́ Road Ọ̀yọ́ Aláàfin aago 5 p.m. daily wòlíì àti ajínrere tó ràánú àràkáyé gbà Reverend M.A. Adéyẹmọ àti ọ̀pọ̀ ìránṣẹ́ Ọlọ́run alààyè ni yóò máa dáná àdúrà jó gbogbo ogun tó takú sínú ayé rẹ. Crusade powered by Glory Declared Ministry Incorporated Ọ̀yọ́ fún àlàyé ẹ pè 081-677-84346 nínú wò ó kí oyè tọdún yìí ìwọ gan-an lè rí tàn.
ẹ̀yin èwe ṣé ẹ ti ṣetán láti ní ìrírí baba kérésì tí ò lẹ́gbẹ́ lọ́dún yìí? baba kérésì 32 FM dé padà tirẹ̀ tẹ̀bùn kàǹkà àríyá àti ìgbádùn fún ọjọ́ mẹ́tàlélógún gbáko tó ń tẹ̀bùn tí ò níye bẹ̀rẹ̀ lọ́jọ́ kejì di ọjọ́ kẹrìnlélógún oṣù kejìlá ọdún 2023 gbogbo ayé ní Bond Mall Olúsànyà bus stop Ring Road Ìbàdàn. ẹgbẹ̀rún méjì péré lọ́mọ kan aago 10 àárọ̀ lójoojúmọ́ ni fada kérésì ó ti wà ń kalẹ̀ láti ṣe onígbọ̀wọ́ àbí fún àlàyé síwájú ẹ pè oyin sórí 08131251915 tàbí sùnbọ̀ sórí 0908-473-8279. ẹ wá gbọ́ o yàtọ̀ sí àpò ẹ̀bùn tí baba kérésì 32 FM yóò fún ọmọ kọ̀ọ̀kan àǹfààní ẹ̀bùn tún lọ sálálú lásìkò yìí kó tó ríire lórí rédíò láago 4 kọjá ìṣẹ́jú 10 sí 5 ìrọ̀lẹ́ lójoojúmọ́. gbogbo ọmọ tó bá ti pè wọlé ó máa gbẹ̀bùn kààyà bíi púlọ̀tì ilẹ̀ ẹ̀rọ ìléwọ́ táàbù ẹ̀kọ́ ọ̀fẹ́ àpò ìrẹsì àwọn ohun èlò ilé electronics àti bẹ́ẹ̀ bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ. àwọn onígbọ̀wọ́ baba kérésì 32 FM ọdún yìí ni Hallelujah Oil, Bright Foods, Delight Chinchin, Denabit Homes and Properties, RC Cola, Tiwa the Wise Monkey, Letiji Properties, Boom Drinks, iShow Gadgets, La Casera, Crunchy Cheese Ball àti Fan Me.
Nínú ọdún tí ń bẹ láyé tí kérésì lọ́yà.
ṣọ́ra fóònù tiẹ̀ ló wá sọ títí tó o tún ṣe síbẹ̀ tí kò gbọ́ tó jẹ́ káwọn engineer máa sọ ẹ́ di jẹunjẹun wò ó má jẹ́ kó tì sú ẹ ọ̀rẹ́ wa torí àìrìn jìnnà láìrábùkẹ́ ọ̀kẹ́rẹ́ jẹ́ mú ẹ lọ sí iṣẹ́ tó máa yí nìke fóònù tí wọ́n bá sọ fóònù rẹ di tuntun ní kíákíá ká lọ sí Real Phones Repair and Unlock Services. Real Phone Repair and Unlock Services ọ̀gá ni wọ́n nínú ká tún fóònù ṣe ká sòkú fóònù dá láàyè tó bá wá jẹ́ pé ẹ fẹ́ unlock fóònù ni ọ̀gá ni lásà Real Phones kó tún jẹ́ screen problem ni wọ́n ní gbogbo àrùn kárùn tó bá ń ṣe fóònù rẹ ní Real Phones abẹ gbéyẹ̀wò tí wọ́n sì sọ fóònù rẹ di tuntun. Iléeṣẹ́ wọn wà ní number 35C Nipos Shopping Complex ládojúkọ Cocoa House Ìbàdàn. Wọ́n wà láti wọlé géètì wọ́n tún wà lápọ̀tún rẹ̀ gẹ́lẹ́ tó bá ti wọlé tán. Ẹ lè pè wọ́n sórí 0706-436-8169 tàbí 0809-695-7878. Real Phones Repair and Unlock Services ojútùú sí gbogbo ìpèníjà fóònù rẹ.
Pìràtán herbal capsule. Egbògi ìbílẹ̀ tàbí ọjọ́ pípẹ́ ṣe ìwádìí ẹ̀. Lórí kí ló ń fà á dára ọkùnrin kì í kó pọ́npọ́n bó ṣe yẹ. Àṣegbératan herbal capsule jáde kí àyà ọkùnrin lè kí gbàgbà. Ó dúró tán láìsí ìfòyà. Gbératan herbal capsule. Alátìlẹyìn akọ tó bá fẹ́ ṣe bí akíkúgbàdà sákì. Ọkùnrin alókunnú dáadáa á lè sákì tí bá pàṣẹ bí alágbára. Gbératan herbal capsule. Tẹ̀ bá ń gbọ́ olówó orí mi kì í dédé wáyé o. Ọkùnrin tó tán ló ń jẹ́ bẹ́ẹ̀. Gbératan herbal capsule wà ní Danax Pharmacy. Adamasinga, Tanimola Pharmacy, Òkè Àdó, Aslam Pharmacy, Queen Elizabeth Road, adjacent UCH First Gate, Boste Pharmacy Àpáta, àti ní Sinati Pharmacy Ìjókòdó. Gbératan herbal capsule wà nílùú Ìsẹ́yìn, Ọ̀yọ́, Ìkirè, Ìwó, Ẹdẹ àti nílùú Ògbómọ̀ṣọ́. Iléeṣẹ́ Tèmítáyọ̀ Prado Medical Nigeria Limited ló ń ṣe Gbératan herbal capsule jáde. Láti mọ̀ gangan pharmacy tẹ́ ti lè rí Gbératan herbal capsule rà. Ẹ pè 081 033 69 434. Ọkùnrin nìkan ló wà fún o.
Getting a good deal is like finding money in your pocket when you need it the most. Sweet. You know that feeling, right? A good deal you don't want to miss this Ember period is 32FM's digital sales promo. Our love for you and your business has led us to create this chance for you to advertise on any of our social media platforms for 5,000 Naira only. To grab this offer, reach out to us via these numbers 0703 476 7684 or 0810 067 2518. This offer is valid from November 1st to 31st December 2023. So, let's make this mola.
Feel better about your life.
32 FM 94.9, the antidote to depression.
Welcome back, the Podium on 32 FM 94.9. I think we now have Prof and Barrister in-house panelist on board. Apologies for the technical glitch earlier. Barrister, good morning. I don't know if you can hear me.
Oh, yes, I can hear you loud and clear. Good morning.
Good to have you.
And good morning, Prof. Good morning, our special guests for the day.
Yeah.
It's a pleasure being here.
Yes. Okay, before I bring on our guest, let me just quickly get your thoughts on what I started with earlier, the story of that judgment that affirmed the ruling of the Federal Capital Territory High Court about the payment of outstanding balance of 3.4 billion to the council chief who was sacked by the Oyo State governor back in May 2019. The judgment was 4.9 billion initially from the Supreme Court verdict May 7, 2021. But according to reports, the state government had only been able to pay some of it, prompting the judgment creditors, in this case the ex-council chairman, to approach the Federal Capital Territory High Court. The court ruled in their favor. The case went on to the appeal court yesterday. The court has ruled in their favor again, asking the state government to ensure the payment. In fact, it even awarded 50 million as cost against the governor and other appellants to be paid to ex-council chiefs led by Bashir Majid Boswaju. And the question I posed to Prof before that technical problem was that, this again brings us back to what we've always talked about, how governors, administer local government affairs in their state. In retrospect, looking back at how the local government chairmen were dismissed, some would say this is a needless debt, on the state. 4.9 billion now is remaining about 3 billion naira at the time when we're talking about paucity of funds and dearth in revenue. Let me start with Prof.
Yeah, thank you very much. Good morning, listeners and our guests. It's a pleasure to be here this morning. Indeed, we've talked about this last week concerning how governors handle not just local government affairs, but how they uphold the rule of law in the way they govern the state. Now, this is, as you said, is a needless debt, yet the money has to be coughed out of the coffers of the government of the state. And this, of course, in a situation where even payments of salaries are a difficult thing, shows very clearly that there are consequences for impunity, and that most of the time, these consequences are borne by the citizens rather than the chief executive, which means that people should be very alert in terms of how government follow the rule of law, how they govern the state, how accountable they are, how they follow the provisions of the Constitution, and so on and so forth. So there should be really an outcry on this, because it's a humongous debt. 4-point-something billion is not a joke, out of the coffers of the government. And then, of course, the 50 million cost for disregarding court order. Yes. Cost for disregarding court order, that has to be paid personally by the governor. And I think that citizens and civil societies within Oyo State have to rise up, to make this very clear as a deterrent to future governors for disregarding the rule of law, for behavior that is tantamount to impunity, and for them to also know that they are accountable to not just the law, but they are also accountable to the people. So it's a very important moment and significant moment in Oyo State. And how this particular pass is handled will go a long way to determine the nature of governance in the future. If it goes on without any repercussion, then of course the door is open for governors to do whatever they like, regardless of the consequences and the cost on the budget or the resources of the state, and then of course the tax that citizens pay.
Right.
So it's a serious moment.
Let me bring on Barrister. Barrister, some would argue that this whole problem started with the way those ex-council chairmen emerged in the first place. Remember, it was the past administration at the time that conducted, what many people criticized as a selection, quote unquote, that led to their emergence. People questioned whether or not it was legal at the time to have conducted that election. I remember also you've made an argument before that maybe what we should have is, when a governor is finishing his tenure, is about to finish it, there's no point conducting a local government election. Or some people have even said that let's INEC be the ones to conduct state local government election instead of the State Electoral Commission that's been seen as, an appendage of the state government. So would you say that this whole problem started with the way the chairman emerged? Maybe we'll not been talking about this court judgment in the first place, or this judgment because the ex-council bosses went to court to seek redress and court awarded compensation for them. The state government went to appeal against that compensation. The appeal court now has upheld the decision of the Federal Capital Territory High Court for the compensation to be made. So did it all start from when the chairmen when they emerged in the first place?
Yes, thank you very much. You see, my position remains unchanged. There is no doubt about it that the court ruled on what was presented before it. But that which is equity and good is the law of laws. That is my position. That which is equity and good is the law of laws. The emergence of those council chairmen and what have you is one which, in my mind, offends the rules of morality. All right? And if we have situations like that, then, of course, we will still have many more cases like this coming up before the courts. Somebody has a tenure, and then he looks, to unorthodox, I want to put it that way, means to extend that tenure into somebody else's, exactly what happened. Ajimobi was in government for 7 whole years without conducting an election into local government councils. And not only that, the state electoral commission, we all saw what they did when they conducted that election that brought in the so-called
council chairman,
local council chairman, and what have you. You see, as far as I am concerned, it is better to prevent rather than to be looking for cures all over the place. This matter is not going to be resolved with that court judgment, as I can bet my money and anything on it. The best bet that is going to happen is an out-of-court settlement for all of the parties, because the courts cannot order the doing of an impossibility. Like Prof rightly said, where is that money going to come from? Are you going to hurt the citizens of your state just to satisfy a few people, for whatever they are complaining about? What happened was a big mess, and we should prevent that from happening any further. If you are a governor, you are in a state, you are expected to conduct local government if the state electoral commissions are still saddled with that responsibility. You should conduct your local government elections not later than 365 days after you assume office, so that the tenure of your local government ends with your administration. You cannot want to extend it into, because this is the politics in Nigeria. This is the how can APC government, bring up council chairman to run in the administration of PDP? Do you think there will be peace in the land? Definitely not.
I see, Prof.
My own my own position is this: that this matter will not end here.
Yes,
it will definitely not end here. And the best way to go about it is to have an out-of-court settlement.
Right. I see you're raising your hand, Prof. Yes.
Yes, because there are two issues that Barrister has not addressed, which I want to talk about.
Okay.
The first is that there are tenures for local government, and they don't coincide with the tenures of state governors. So whichever way you look at it, there's bound to be overlap, and it is not peculiar to governance in Nigeria. So that's settled. Then the second one is really that I agree with him that that election, the integrity of the election was
questionable.
Questionable, yeah. But what the governor should have done is to go to court to challenge or call for the annulment of those elections
instead of removing them the way he did.
As of right, instead of just dismissing them, exercising the authority that he does not have. So that's actually
but that's peculiar to Oyo State. Is that peculiar to Oyo State? It did not happen in Lagos.
It's not. It's that it has happened does not mean that it is right. I mean, it is legal.
I'm not saying
if you disagree with an election, that you have power to or you have the capacity to declare an elected government and remove him from office, does not mean that it is right. If he has gone to court and the court is the one that decided that this election was a sham, we will not be in this situation that we are in. It took a very rash. It took what do you say? It took a self-help. He did self-help. He took the authority into his hand.
Which court are you going to during the administration of the governor? We are all in this country, man. We are all in this country.
Are you saying now that the court does not matter? Because again,
I am not saying definitely not.
If he does not want to go to court, then he should have settled, as you have said, the matter politically.
Yes.
But thinking that he has that authority.
There is injustice on this matter. On this matter, there is injustice in the land.
Right.
On this matter, there is injustice in the land.
Is it the governor or you?
Okay, Prof, let me get your points now, because I remember when it happened. It was one of the first decisions that the governor took in the moment he was sworn into office. One of the very first.
And apart from
it was wrong then. Apart from prescribing the NURTW, I remember it was the chief of staff then that announced it. Chief BC Laka was the one that made the announcement before the House of Assembly was inaugurated, and then they also told the line of what the governor said. The House of Assembly was inaugurated in June, so I remember clearly. So are you saying that announcement should have maybe come from the House of Assembly itself, not from the chief of staff to the governor?
Absolutely. He should have followed due process. In any case, why did he pay the first installment if you think he was right?
He paid 1-something billion.
No, don't get me wrong.
He has done his right.
Don't get me wrong. Yes.
So why did he pay? Because he knew that he was wrong. And
The court has been
the
brought
officials
into
also
the
want to
matter.
take advantage of its admittance of wrongness to get more cuts from the resources of the state.
Okay.
I think these are issues that we have to deal with.
Okay. I think we'll come back to this issue because we need to quickly switch gears now to talk to one of our first guests on the show today. He's here to talk to us about, disaster management in Nigeria. We'll also look at, emergency response mechanism and, relief materials as well. He's joining us live in the studio, Engineer Babalola Olaleye Famade, the Your State Chapter Chairman, Nigeria Red Cross Society. Thank you for joining us on the show this morning, sir.
Thank you very much.
Great to have you. Great to have you. So we'll finish up with him and then we'll come back to the guest virtually. So let me start with your assessment of disaster management in Nigeria. We've seen quite a lot in the last couple of years. Insurgency in the northeast, banditry and kidnapping, flooding in different parts of the country, even here in your state as well. We've seen building collapses. We've seen quite a number of all kinds of disasters. So what's your assessment of disaster management in Nigeria? Because you are on the front line, dealing with some of these things. I'm sure you have colleagues as well in the Northeast to give you report as to how these things happen. Recently, the unfortunate incident, in Kaduna, which the military have also apologized for. What do you make of disaster management mechanism in Nigeria generally?
Thank you. The management of the disaster in Nigeria has been, I would say, above 50. Not really to 100% because there are a lot of things which we're supposed to be taken into consideration. With the little the government always say about the finances, the liquid in the circulation, we are able to put little, do all those things. Not really too much okay, because some of those money voted on it are really quite small. Okay. Even with that small, because of integrity of Nigerians or those people that are there are not really.
So there's positive of funds. There's positive of fund in terms of allocation to you and what you need to manage disaster generally.
Not really much to what we expected.
Okay.
Yeah, the little is being circulated to only those areas alone, without even thinking whether there can be some insurgents in another place due to what is happening in a particular place.
Okay, so there's that concentration in the north.
That's the concentration of that area
in the north. Okay. Yeah. There's also been this concern about the management of those who are victims of these things, like in the IDP camps across the country. I know most of them are in the north, as we said. Yeah. There were, I remember Human Rights Watch, Amnesty International coming up with different reports of, human rights violation in these camps, diversion of relief materials meant for the victims of, some of these, disasters as well. So as somebody in the front line, what do you make of some of this report? Are they the true nature of what usually happens from what you've experienced all these years?
Yeah, the situation like that do happen in some area because of insincerity and the outlook and the areas in that place which is being executed. And also when you see some people that are not really equipped or managing that get involved. We are in a democratic era which, the politicians or the governments, engage those people that some of them are not really more experienced. So in a local area, or some spectacular areas, you see some of them doing such in a situation. But the sincerity of the Nigeria of the country, but especially in the Red Cross, has to be used. Because it's forbidden for any Red Crossers to do that. You don't take part, you don't benefit
from relief materials.
In the relief materials. It has to be done according to the way the government, stipulated it or stated or states situations like that on the ground.
And when you look at, some of these things happen, like the Kaduna incident, for instance, there seemed to be a disparity between what the military says and what those on the humanitarian front would say. That's usually what happens in war fronts, across the world. The military involved or the country involved will say, oh, we are not doing this. There are no civilian, casualties involved, but the maybe it's Medicine Sans Frontiers, maybe it's Red Cross, all of them would say something different. So what's your assessment of what played out in Kaduna and the response of the military as somebody also on the front line as well?
Well, like the military has owned up themselves that it was done out of just on their own reasons that this thing was done. But we need to reassess the situations like that. In a country where, how comes about that? Now when it happens, they've owned up. I think the best thing is how do you manage all those people? The death has gone. Those that are still living, those in the hospital, all these people are still there. And Nigerian context, we should have to be very careful in the situations like that. In a more advanced country, things like that doesn't happen except there is a war that was thrown to a place which they thought their enemy, but gets in cons with them. So, I don't know. That is the issue in Nigeria presently now.
Okay, let's come back to Oyo State. We also have our fair share of disasters and risk here and there. I mentioned flooding earlier. There are also some, communal conflict here and there as well. So what has been the role of the Red Cross in the resettlement plan of some of the victims of this incident in Oyo State? How have you managed some of these disasters here?
Yes, and they realized that concerning the Red Cross, what we did in Oyo State, we went for a real assessment and get all those things. Then we send it to the national and for the national to process it and get in touch with us. And that's an area we still also appeal to the state government also to get Red Cross involved in the state in most of those issues. Thank God we should be able to have a rapport with him in our inauguration ceremony today, later in the Chief of House of Chiefs in the Secretariat.
Okay.
So we will be able also to analyze that to him.
But before now, you've been, also, collaborating with the state government in management of some of these disasters.
Yes, we do.
Yes.
But we usually get all those things right away from the national, but we want much input of the state government into it.
Okay. Speaking of the state government, you were part of the group that registered the poorest of the poor for the cash transfer program, using economic losses during COVID period as one of the reasons to be eligible. So would you say this process actually captured the vulnerable in the state as expected?
Yeah, it was done excellently okay.
Because Nigerians always have this reservation about how do you gather data. If you say poorest of the poor, how do you define poorest of the poor? How do you come about them? How do you gather the data, the right statistics to ensure that, okay, this how do you say now, cash transfer program or social safety net program actually reaches the target?
Information and reference were sent to those areas, especially tackled the villages, the hamlets, and all those areas in which we now went into it to have some demarcation and refine with information gathered in those secluded areas. I mean, areas which we know this thing is more rampaging, more especially the economy in the country, but especially in the state. So when we did that analysis process and we submitted, so we believe that at least those poor has really been captured.
So you did analysis with them, you visited some areas, and you gave them the reports, and you were able to capture the real poorest of the poor.
Yeah.
Okay, before we let you go, we just want to get your expert advice on, how to attend to victims of accident, emergencies before the arrival of trained personnel.
Yeah, that is the first way. We make sure the moment there is an occurrence, we always inform them to give us a call, because the first responders will be those people along that area will be the first person to know. Send an information to us, which we've given them a line onto that. Then with that, we rush in our first aiders, we move in. And thank God also, we also work with those arms also in the road safety, which happens to be the corridor leader for the Oluyole.
Oh, okay.
That is from the Lagos endpoint of the expressway down to the Wo Road junction. So we collaborate together to make sure that at least when we get there, we do the first aid and tackle all those things before the expertise with the ambulance and all those things rush in. at that particular time, so that we can save life.
Okay, thank you so much. I really have to let you go now because I know you have, that meeting with the governor, as you said. Thank you for joining us. We decided to bring you because of the, need to have a proper disaster management mechanism in the country, given what we've seen in other parts of the nation as well, the north, and even here in Oyo State. But we appreciate you, Engineer Babalola Olale Famadi, Oyo State Chapter Chairman, Nigeria Red Cross Society. We'll take a quick commercial break. When we get back, we'll continue the conversation. We'll also be joining Chief Niyi Akintola, SAN, on the show to look at some of the issues relating to the election, judiciary, and our politics in general. All of that tomorrow after this break.
You're listening to 32 FM 94.9.
Mọ́mí wa, ṣáwọn ọmọ yín fẹ́ràn mílíkì, ṣé ẹ fẹ́ gbọ́? Milo Active Go ní mílíkì ìdá 20 tàbí jù bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ ló ń bẹ nínú Milo fún àwọn ọmọ yín. Tí ẹ bá sì fẹ́ kí ó ṣe yọ̀yọ̀yọ̀ sí, ẹ lè po mílíkì mọ́ ọ sí. Milo, okun láti tẹ̀síwájú.
Milo! Béèyàn bá rí ìdúnàdúrà tó dàbí ìfà, inú ẹni á dùn bí ìgbà tá a rówó ìlápò. 32 FM tún gbèdé o. Polówó ọjà rẹ láwọn ojúpọ̀ ayélujára 32 FM pẹ̀lú ẹ̀dínwó tó dùn mọ́ni dọ́kàn. Ìfẹ́ tá a ní sí yín àti okòwò yín ló bí àǹfààní bàǹtàbàǹtà yìí. O lè polówó ọjà, iṣẹ́ àbí okòwò rẹ láwọn ojúpọ̀ ayélujára 32 FM gbogbo pẹ̀lú $5,000 péré, 5,000 naira only. Láti jẹmu láǹfààní aláìlẹ́gbẹ́ yìí, pè tàbí kí o ti àtẹ̀ránṣẹ́ sí Tóminsìn lórí 0703 476 7684, Bọ́láńlé 0810 067 2518. Àǹfààní yìí bẹ̀rẹ̀ láti ọjọ́ kìíní oṣù kọkànlá sí ọjọ́ kọkànlélọ́gbọ̀n oṣù kejìlá ọdún 2023.
Sọ pé ìwọ ló kàn láti kọ́lé ayọ̀.
Èmi ló kàn. Ẹgbẹ́ tí ní ìwà èmi ló kàn.
Bẹ́ẹ̀ni, àfi tó o bá kópa nínú ìfà tuntun Iremide Ember Super Promo. Àrà ọ̀tọ̀ tuntun láti iléeṣẹ́ Zenith Real Estate and Properties Limited. Ẹ̀dínwó rẹpẹtẹ láìlábùyẹ̀ bẹ̀rẹ̀ láti ọjọ́ kìíní oṣù November títí di ọjọ́ kọkànlélọ́gbọ̀n oṣù December 2023. Èrò wìtì láwọn estate wa Achievers Estate Ìdóńbàdàn $800,000 nílẹ̀ ẹ̀bẹ̀. Kings Park Estate Mọ́níyà $1.4 million lẹ́ra lẹ́ńbẹ̀. Pretoria Park and Garden Mọ́níyà Ńbàdàn $600,000 nílẹ̀ ẹ̀bẹ̀ yẹn. Riobos Park and Garden Elekuru Mọ́níyà Ìbàdàn $800,000 nílẹ̀ ẹ̀bẹ̀. Tó fi mọ́ Sun City Estate Alábàtà Mọ́níyà $1.5 million péré nílẹ̀ ẹ̀bẹ̀ yẹn. Oríṣiríṣi ọ̀kan òjọ̀kan ẹ̀bùn fún gbogbo ẹni tó bá ra lẹ̀ lọ́dọ̀ wa. Pàápàá jùlọ ẹni tó bá gbé tán lẹ́ẹ̀kan outright payments bíi microwave oven, báàgì ráìsì kan àti òróró 5 litre tó fi mọ́ chicken àti ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ ẹ̀bùn gbàmábínú tà lè kà tán. Ẹ yọjú sí Zenith Real Estate and Properties Limited lẹ́bàá Àrẹ̀mú Block Industry àdójúkọ IITA Ìdífàn Mọ́níyà Ńbàdàn 0814 094 2376. Iremide Ember Super Promo. Èmi ló kàn láti kọ́lé ayọ̀.
Ọ̀sàkìlì Herbal Capsule tún ti dé. Àjẹbí idán fún ìlera rẹ̀.
Ọ̀sàkìlì Herbal Capsule. Àkọ́kọ́lùkọ̀ egbòogi ìbílẹ̀. Ìmọ̀ ìjìnlẹ̀ tó péye. Lábẹ́ ìmọ́tótó la fi pẹ̀lú ẹ̀. Ọ̀sàkìlì Herbal Capsule ló ń jẹ́. Ó gbàṣẹ gbòǹtẹ̀ ìjọba. Tó o bá kẹ́fí pé gbogbo ìgbà tó o bá ti jẹun. Oúnjẹ kọ̀ọ̀kọ̀ wálẹ̀. Constipation and indigestion. Ọ̀sàkìlì Capsule ló kápẹ́. Akarakiri Natural Health Concept. Tó wà ní number 4 Progressive Estate. Wọ̀ fún olódó nìbàdàn. Àwọn náà ṣe tán package jẹ. Ọ̀sàkìlì. Bẹ́ẹ̀ bá fẹ́ dágbére fún inú rúnrún díẹ̀díẹ̀. Oúnjẹ kọ̀ọ̀kọ̀ wálẹ̀. Ọ̀sàkìlì ní kí ẹ ránṣẹ́ pè lónìí. Fún gbogbo èyí tẹ́ fẹ́ rà lẹ́yọlẹ́yọ àtàlára túntà. Ẹ kàn sí Salem Chemist tó wà ní Agodi Gate Ìbàdàn àti Kúnlé Ará Pharmacy tó wà ní àdójúkọ UCH Ìbàdàn. Pẹ̀lú gbogbo àwọn ilé ìtajà tó ń tọ́jú lówó oògùn lórílẹ̀‐èdè Nàìjíríà. Fẹ́kùnrẹ́rẹ́ àlàyé ẹ máa pè sórí ẹ̀rọ ìbánisọ̀rọ̀ yìí 070-3636-1961. Ọ̀sàkìlì Herbal Capsule. Pánkọ pí oògùn tó gbàṣẹ gbòǹtẹ̀ ìjọba.
Children are Are you ready to experience the best Santa party of the year? 32 FM Laughter Santa is back with more goodies than you can count. 23 days of fun, games, and gifts with 32 FM's Laughter Santa from the 2nd of December to the 24th of December 2023. Venue Bond Mall, Olusoya Bus Stop, Ring Road, Ibadan. Gate fee still 2,000 naira only. Time 10 a.m. daily. For sponsorship and inquiries, call Sumbo on 0908 738279 or OI on 0813 125 1915. Beyond the Laughter Park from Santa, there's also more on the Laughter Santa Raffle Show every day from 4:10 to 5 p.m. where every caller is a winner of super gifts like plots of land, tags, school fees, bags of rice, electronic gadgets, and lots more. Laughter Santa is proudly supported by Alleluia Oil, Right Food, Delight Chin Chin, Danabid Homes and Properties, RC Cola, Tiwa the Wise Monkey, Letty G Properties, Boom Drinks, iShow Gadgets, La Casera, Crunchy Cheese Balls, and Fan Milk. Don't miss out on 32 FM's Laughter Santa 2023. See you there.
This is for the streets every day one fan.
Why not Time Teller presents Streets in the Mall, a DJ and Hagman competition.
Come on, DJ, let's break it down.
On Friday, 29th and Saturday, 30th December 2023. We will also be having trade fair, and slots is for 100,000 naira. Shared slots is for 50,000 naira. Time 10 a.m. Trade fair starts 9 a.m. on Friday and Saturday, 29th and 30th of December. The major competition starts 5 p.m. on the 30th of December. Entry fee for hype man and DJ is 5,000 naira flat. Cash and products worth 1 million naira to be won. Forms are available at Why Not Time Teller stores or download it from our Instagram page at Street in the Mall or call 0908 222 5683. Packaged by Sean Bamba.
Feel better about your life.
32 FM, 94.9, the antidote to depression.
When the people became silent,
the government became oppressive. It's time to lend your voice to politics.
On 32 FM 94.9.
Safasa pelisizo simnyama Iwasafa Isizo saba Kavula mo Alichaleniko Kelize Wemaye wemodo Safasa pelisizo simnyama.
All right, welcome back. The Podium on 32 FM 94.9, your laughter station. My name is OLORUNTOBA, YUSUF. Thank you for staying with us on the show. Barrister Yomi Ogunlola is with us as our INT'L panelist. Join us virtually. Prof is also with us as well. Now we'll be joining guest Chief Nia Kintola, SCN, is joining us virtually as well. Chief Nia Kintola, good morning, sir. Great to have you. Thank you for joining us. Hello, morning, sir.
Hello?
Hello, good morning, sir. Hello, can you hear me, sir? Yes, we can hear you. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, good morning, sir. Great to have you join us. Thank you so much.
How are you, sir?
Very well, thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you for joining us on the show today. Yes. Okay, so we'll begin with, the last election and some of the issues it has thrown up. It has thrown up, different conversation about our electoral process. Some say our judiciary. Some talked about the nature of election dispute mechanism in Nigeria. I'll take you to the former President Olusegun Obasanjo, who criticized a situation where 3 to 5 justices would be the ones to determine who gets to be a governor, who gets to be a senator, overturning decisions made by millions of voters during elections. And some have said that all we have right now is democracy by litigation. INEC announces something, you go to court, you get another verdict. The former president says it is worrisome. These are some of the conversation the last election has thrown up in our polity. What do you make of this? And do you think it's worrisome that we're having 3 to 5 judges, determining who becomes a governor or becomes a senator in the country?
Well, in the first place, I'm a Yoruba man, well brought up. and I don't subscribe to the idea of criticizing others. My opinion on what Baba said, Baba Obasanjo, is a man I respect so much, even though on most grounds we don't agree on issues. I never knew that he has been following my accent and my progress and commitments in the society. I never knew until he accosted me in Ado-Ekiti 2 months back. But beyond that, I don't normally like to critique him because I don't agree with what he said. And what he said was not only illogical, it was unconscionable, to use a very mild word. Let me stop at that. If you look at the logicality of his statement, I mean what he said, there are 220 million Nigerians presently, according to the World Bank projection. And here was a man who presided over this country for 8 years at a go. At a time he was there for almost 4 years, 3 years, 7 months. He was the only one presiding all of us. So if you just oppose that with the idea of having 3 justices preside over electoral matters. If you look at even the election we are talking about, how many people do vote? We have over 200 million Nigerians. The last election, less than 30 million voted for the presidential candidates. So what is he talking about? You see, the truth of the matter is that while one agree with that, democracy may be alien to Nigerians, aliens to Africans generally. And it was on that score that I agree with him that if we are to fashion out a form of governance, form of government that will suit our environment, suit our culture, suit our social million, that would have been the difference. But we have not been able to fashion that. Democracy is said to be government of the people, by the people and for the people. For which people? Who are the people? Don't forget that in African society, it is the divine right of the king that prevails. And that was what was happening even in the medieval world before now, before the idea of democracy was formulated. Before in Britain, it used to be the rule of the king. Whatever the king says prevails.
Right.
So it is not that what he said was totally wrong in terms of our culture, social milieu, and what have you. But to say that because 3-4 justices are sitting, he himself was the only president, was the only person ruling none of us. At a stage, nobody even elected him. And at a stage, he wanted to perpetuate himself in office. He wanted to have a third term. So what is he talking about?
Okay.
And this was somebody who was even the beneficiary of the system is criticizing. And that has been the problem with us in this country.
Right.
Especially for our politicians. They've been the first to castigate judiciary, and when they run into trouble, they go back to the same judiciary for succor.
Okay. Okay.
The same Obasanjo has been in and out of the judiciary, seeking people from the judiciary, suing for libel, claiming this and that, even fighting over his business empire in court. So what is he talking about?
Right. So Chief, I know you've talked about politicians saying all sorts about judiciary, but some would argue that judiciary itself has done some, things that would sort of lend credence to what some of these people are saying. The first one I'd like to refer you to, because before we brought you on, we listened to an interview granted by Kenneth Okonkwo, a member of the Labour Party, who was also in court at the time.
Please. Don't bring Kenneth Okonkwo. Everybody became a lawyer less than 6-7 years ago.
Sir.
He has never moved in motion before in his life.
Yes.
He has never done any election petition. That's the problem with the Nigerian press. You invite people to the podium to discuss on issues they need not little or nothing about.
Sir.
Somebody was invited. Someone was talking about Abuja. A vote from Abuja be greater than a vote from Casino.
No, let me.
You invited the fellow who propounded that has never done any presidential election before in his life.
Right. Let me just take you to.
When you are bringing people who are
Yes.
less knowledgeable on issues, and that's the kind of thing you get.
Right.
And all of us are doing that. The National Assembly, we want to formulate, initiate a policy or a legislation. They bring in a professor of this, professor of that, who has not done that before. We are talking of practicability here.
Okay, Chief. I understand what you. I understand what you're saying.
You are talking about people like Okonkwo. It's not. In fact, it will not be number 21 in my chambers, in my office.
All right, Chief.
Hierarchy.
Chief, I understand what you're saying, sir.
There's no one in my office, whether in Abuja here or Lagos or Ibadan, that will not. I mean, please.
All right.
Stop insulting the sensibility of Nigerian lawyers. I'm talking about the lives of Okonkwo. What does he know?
All right, Chief. You know, we're not insulting. We're not insulting the legal practitioner. All we're doing is to give.
You don't have to say something.
Yes.
Look, I was talking to his principal.
Chief, if I could just make reference to,
the same flight with Tambua. Tambua happened to be our colleague and our junior.
Right.
And we were discussing before we boarded at the VIP, the protocol lounge, and he said he was going to Abuja to address a press conference. He himself and Tambua. And when he brought in me, I said, look, you are very lucky that I was not one of the justices that sat on your matter. If I were, PO's case ought to have been dismissed the very day that matter came to court.
Okay.
Simple logic, not even. You don't even need to be a lawyer to appreciate that.
Okay. Okay, Prof. Thank you.
He claimed that he had 40,000 polling agents throughout the country. Even assuming he even won not 40,000, my brother, there are 176,848 polling units in Nigeria. Look at do the arithmetic. Is that up to 1/3 of the entire? It's not even up to 1/4.
Okay, Chief. If I could just finish my.
And you needed to score at least 2/3.
Chief, if I could just finish my line of thought, Chief.
What we met on ground.
Sir.
That with the position of the law, that they look at your pleadings.
Okay, Chief.
Look at what you are claiming and what you are saying. If you are saying you have 40,000 polling units,
yes.
Place 40,000 polling over 176,000. What do you get?
Chief, where I was going.
That's he just went to court, wasted the resources of the country, wasted the time of everybody. And I told him, and I said, if I were one of the justices, I would have dismissed your case the very day the matter came up. Because what we are used to is that they say, look, can you address us on the state of your pleadings and your reliefs?
All right, Chief.
Let's them together.
Chief.
This is not something that a layman.
I understand, Chief. Let me just make.
Said, Oga, he has never. I said, go and read it. He said, ask him. I said, ask him. How many polling units did you claim you have in your pleadings?
All right, Chief. Where I was going was what Kenneth. What was said is that in the course of giving.
This matter, I'm not even going. He said because of social media. What social media will say? Let them exhaust themselves.
Okay, Prof. Okay, sorry, Chief.
We're talking of technicality. What is law? It's not technical.
Okay, Chief. Thank you very much.
Any dictum and Harry will go to court and claim to
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Chief. So
when people are expressing something that's so cause, something that's so despicable.
Chief, thank you very much. Thank you very much.
The public,
thank you very much. But what he did say? What he did say?
Election petition, you are begging Okonkwo. Who is Okonkwo?
What he did say,
I've been involved in the election petition since 1999.
I understand that, and I respect that. But our job is to cover all sides. Our job is to cover all sides. I understand your. I understand. Our job is to cover all sides, Chief.
Talk to the likes of Chief Olanipeku. Talk to the likes of Fagbemi. Talk to the likes of Uche. You talk to the likes. You don't talk to all these noisemakers who are media creations, and you think you are talking.
Chief, they are Nigerians too, and they have the right to their opinion. They are Nigerians too. They might not be as experienced as you are, but they are Nigerians too, and they have the right to their own opinion, their own assessment of the situation. Because this Nigeria belongs to all of us. Yes. So I'd like to go back to that question again that I wanted to ask you. And what he said was that he read the certified true copy of the judgment of the Supreme Court. Chief, I don't know if you can hear me. Hello, Chief.
Hello?
Yeah, I can hear you clearly. I can hear you, sir. I can hear you clearly. Okay. We'll try and reconnect with him again. And just to be clear, while Chief Akintola is a highly respected legal practitioner who's handled the election petition for many years, obviously that's highly respected. But our job is to cover all sides because Kenneth Okonkwo, whoever it is, they're also Nigerians and have the right to give their opinion as well. So, Chief, as I was saying before the line went off.
They should give their opinion within the limit of their knowledge.
Okay, so the point is, he said that he read a certified true copy of the judgment released by the panel of 7 justices at the Supreme Court. And he said he was surprised that some of the things announced in court, can you hear me, sir? That some of the things were announced in court were not in the certified true copy of what he read, that it was at variance. And this is not the first time we're hearing something like this. In Kano too, although they admitted that it was a clerical error, they said what was in the certified true copy was not what was announced on the floor of the court. So do you think things like this, would lend credence to the argument of some people about the judiciary?
Excuse me, you see, like I said at one of the fora, you see, when journalists or interviewers have made up their mind on an issue, there's no point asking questions on such. If you have made your conclusion, then why asking me?
I've not made any conclusion. I'm asking you. You said that it's politicians. You said it's politicians that are discrediting judiciary. I'm asking you that these things that happen, do you think it would further lend credence to this perception? Because it happened. I'm asking you.
Certainly not. You are talking of people who are not even knowledgeable in this area. I was in the case you are talking about, the presidential election petition. I was a legal counsel there. And from the word go, and I drafted some of the responses. So what are you talking about? You see, we are talking of somebody who is even an entity within the system. I see, what portion is he talking about? He has forgotten that case was called the consolidated. The cases were consolidated. Atiku and Obi's case were consolidated. Are you aware of that? And when the case is consolidated, does he expect the same things to come up? There are rules. We have civil procedure rules. We have the Electoral Act. We have the provision guiding it. So what is he talking about? And I don't want to comment on the issue of that of Kano because that one is substitutes. I will not say a word on it. Because it's pending before a court of law. And like we've said before, it is because these days we're having justices and judges of tomorrow souls. If 1 or 2 journalists and lawyers have been jailed over commenting on matter pending before the court, they would have stopped the issue by now because it has happened before. And Fana and I made that point clear in Ibadan just last Monday. That until we start having some of these people put in jail, like it was happening before. In the past, when you comment on a matter pending, you go to jail. And there are precedents for that. But today, because of probably lack of something to do or laziness or what have you, somebody who has never appeared in any court before or even move emotion, go before a television and be referring to issues he knew nothing about. You see, the case in point, that of the Supreme Court, the judgments are clear. If you have a WhatsApp, I can send a copy of the judgment to you. You say what was read in court. What was read that was not there. He has forgotten that there was a motion by his own principal, Chris Uche, who is even the lead counsel to Atiku. He's even junior to me. And there was a motion he brought. In the process of moving the motion, comments were made by himself and the justices. And they were drawing his attention to the futility of his action in the first place. So what are they talking about?
Okay, so...
when you are speaking to lawyers who don't go to court, it's a different ball game.
Okay, Chief. Before I bring in our in-house panelists, I just want to quickly get your opinion on this one as well. Aside the issue relating to the election, there's also a burning issue here in the Southwest. Governor Rotimi Akeredolu of Ondo State. I know he's somebody you know very well. We've also seen the president, interfere in how things are panning out there. they said there's a political solution. He has to sign an undated resignation letter. What do you make of what is happening there? People have talked about how they are surprised at how the governor is handling the situation, especially given, how vibrant he is, how the role he played in the argument of the doctrine of necessity during the late Marumusi Yadua situation some years ago. So what do you make of the situation happening in Ondo State, particularly how the governor is handling it and how the president has intervened with the pressure on the deputy governor to resign from the State House of Assembly?
Well, let me say straight away that and admit the fact that Akiti is my colleague, is my senior at the bar, and is a very close friend. Now, no doubt about it. But over what is going on in those days, I know little or nothing about it. And I don't comment on issues I know nothing about. The intervention of Mr. President, laudable as it is, I was not brought in. I never knew anything about it. I was involved in this election. I spent 2 months, those days going up and down and what have you. And most of the people commenting were not even part of the system. I was part of the system. But as regards the aftermath of what is going on between himself and his deputy, I know little or nothing about it. And I want to admit also that Ayedatiwa sent a message to me, approached me to intervene, and I said, I will not comment until I heard from your principal, and I've not been able to speak to his principal, close as I am. I've been several efforts to see him, and if I have not, the only set of people I speak with his wife, some cases the son, Wajidi. But beyond that, I don't know anything about the ongoing in the administration of Ondo State. There, I don't know anything. The political something I was involved up to the time of the election. At the moment he was elected, I left for my station. And I don't know what's going on there. I don't know anything about
Okay, what is going on? Let me just, since you said you don't know, and, from the reports we have gathered, what is going on is that the governor...
I don't rely on what I read on the pages of newspapers or the social media. I don't.
But there was the announcement that the president intervened, and there is the Speaker of the House of Assembly who is saying that the governor has to sign the deputy governor has to sign an undated letter. I also saw the interview of the Commissioner for Information.
Were you there at the meeting? Was I there? There have been cacophonies of comments.
They are not cacophonies. I'll get you the clip. I'll get you the clip before the end of the show. I'll get you the clip of the Commissioner for Information admitting that the governor had not presided over a state executive council meeting since May this year. That the governor is currently in Ibadan, and the allegations that the signature of the governor is being forged by some people. I can get you the Kayode Ajulo SCN was on in an interview saying this clearly. So this is what is happening. That people are saying, look, put the people of Ondo State first.
Look, Kayode Ajulo is my colleague, is my man, in fact, is my boy, very close to me, and he's from Ondo State. So you might be speaking from I'm speaking from the perspective of what I know. And I don't rely on whatever I read on the pages of newspapers or social media, especially these days. That anybody can import anything, they can juxtapose a voice and do all sorts of things with it. So I want hard facts, and I don't comment on speculations.
This is not speculation, Chief Niyi Akintola.
I had a lady speaking, the Commissioner for Information.
Yes.
I saw a glimpse of it. My own stake there is to see the two gladiators. That's Akiti and Ayedatiwa. And whatever I get from them, I will to put them, subject them to empirical analysis. But beyond that, you don't expect me at my level to be commenting on rumors.
But you admitted that you heard from the commissioner herself now. The commissioner confirmed that the governor has not been on ground.
The commissioner.
Yes.
Did you hear from Dr. What's the name? This PA to SA to Adelu. This guy was a lecturer at University of Ibadan before. Did you hear what? Have you heard from him? Are they all not in the same government? This guy from Ijebu, he was a lecturer at University of Ibadan, one of our boys in Ibadan there. Look, he was saying something that is directly opposite to what the commissioner was saying. So who do I rely on? He is someone remember his name. He is the special advisor on security or something like that. Maybe in the course of the interview, I remember his name. It is very close to me. These are I speak with him one-on-one.
Okay.
I even speak with the PA one-on-one.
So okay, let me ask you, Chief. When last did you talk to the governor? Because you said you're very close to him. He's your senior colleague as well. When last did you talk to him?
I must confess that the last attempt I made to speak with him was last month, and I couldn't. He said he was going to call me back. That was the last conversation we had. If I was to go and see him, and he said it was not auspicious for him to see me at that time. If I had gathered some friends, because Tambua was asking me, putting pressure on me, the former governor of Sokoto, who is now a senator. Tambua is very close to him. So Tambua came to me in the and said, we should go there together. And I called to say, look, Aminu is there. Can we come over? And he said it was not auspicious enough. I mean, the guy came all the way from Abuja. He's a sitting senator. So if I couldn't, the only person I speak with very often is Betty, the wife. I'm very close to Betty too. So these are the truth of the matter.
Okay, Chief. Okay, Chief. I know you said that you don't like to comment on speculation, even though I told you about the commissioner. But let's go to what we know right now. The fact that the governor is not on ground in Ondo State, it's in Ibadan. And people say, look, as a governor of the state, you should be on ground to oversee the affairs of your state.
Well, like I did say, I'm not his medical doctor. And even the law says, only your medical doctor can speak on the state of your health and not on speculation by anybody. And it's in the country. Don't forget, he's in the country. He's not abroad. His case is different from that of Yadua. And these are the things we say. When people make comment, they don't do enough research, enough. Akeredolu is in Nigeria.
But he's in Ibadan. He's not in Ondo State. He's in Ibadan. People voted for him in Ondo State.
According to Ibadan, just 2 hours drive. Sometimes less if you have outriders like all governors do have. So what I'm not to defend anything that is indefensible, but at the same time, I will not jump to the fray of something I don't know the facts of.
Okay.
I wouldn't know whether he goes to Akure and he comes back to Ibadan. Like I did say, I've not been able to see him.
Okay.
And if he goes to... So, I do go to court in Akure and come back the same day. I leave Ibadan in the morning, I get to Akure, do my case, and come back. So, I wouldn't know whether he's lives in Ibadan, once in Akure, or otherwise, until I see him.
Right. Okay, Chief. Let me bring in our panelists now to also chime in on the conversation. We have Professor Remi Ayede of the University of Ibadan, Department of Political Science, as in-house panelist. We also have Barrister Yomi Ogunlola as well joining us. Let me start with Barrister. Yes.
Panelists also.
Yes, Professor Remi Ayede of the University of Ibadan. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That's my friend and
yes.
colleague.
Yes.
I am sorry. Virtually everything the learned Silk said, we missed.
Hello, Prof.
We can't hear him, and we have been making signals to the studio.
Oh.
Hello.
So we just couldn't hear him. But
okay.
If I may take a cue, from what I heard you asking him, maybe the learned Silk is trying to be politically correct, in his answers to your questions. And so let me put that question differently to him. As a man who is a senior advocate of Nigeria, I want to ask him, what is the position of the law where a governor is seen to be incapacitated, unable to perform the functions of his office? This is a general question and not relating only to Ondo State. What does the law say about a governor
of the law is that
that is
the Executive Council
seen
whether
to
of the
be
state
unable.
or federal, will set up a committee within its rank and get a medical opinion, and the doctor of the affected governor or president must be there. His opinion counts, and his doctor is the only one that can say for sure whether the fellow is fit and proper to continue in office to perform the job of the executive of the state. And until that is done, that is the position of the law. Until that is done, and the report is written by the Executive Council of the State of Federal and transmitted to the House of Assembly before a decision can be taken. In other words, it is not open to speculation, it's not open to conjecture, it's not open to that of any lay person to say, look, he has only. No. There must be a written report from the ESCO confirming the state of his head, and that written report itself must be based on the medical report, signed and authenticated by his personal doctor.
Right. Okay. Chief, what we're going to do is, I want you to stay on the line. We'll have a quick commercial break. After this commercial break, we'll be back and we'll continue the conversation. Please stay on the line. Chief will be back in a moment.
You're listening to 32 FM 94.9.
Mọ́mì wa, ṣèbẹ̀ mọ̀ wípé mílìkì ń bẹ nínú Milo. Milo Active Go tí àwọn ọmọdé fẹ́ràn gan ń fún wọn ní ìdá 15 káṣíọ̀mù tí wọ́n nílò lójoojúmọ́. Káṣíọ̀mù ń jẹ́ kí egbò àwọn ọmọ le, ó sì ń ṣe wọ́n láàyè àǹfààní mìíràn. Milo okun láti tẹ̀síwájú.
Getting a good deal is like finding money in your pocket when you need it the most. Sweet. You know that feeling, right? A good deal you don't want to miss this Ember period is 32FM's digital sales promo. Our love for you and your business has led us to create this chance for you to advertise on any of our social media platforms for 5,000 Naira only. To grab this offer, reach out to us via these numbers: 0703 476 7684 or 0810 067 2518. This offer is valid from November 1st to 31st December 2023. So, let's make this mola.
Children, are you ready to experience the best Santa party of the year? 32FM Laughter Santa is back with more goodies than you can count. 23 days of fun, games, and gifts with 32FM's Laughter Santa from the 2nd of December to the 24th of December 2023. Venue, Bond Mall, Olusoya Bus Stop, Ring Road, Ibadan. Gate fee, still 2,000 Naira only. Time, 10 a.m. daily. For sponsorship and inquiries, call Sumbo on 0908 738279 or OI on 0813 125 1915. Beyond the Laughter Park from Santa, there's also more on the Laughter Santa Raffle Show every day from 4:10 to 5 p.m. where every caller is a winner of super gifts like plots of land, tiles, school fees, bags of rice, electronic gadgets, and lots more. Laughter Santa is proudly supported by Alleluia Oil, Right Food, Delight Chin Chin, Danabid Homes and Properties, RC Cola, Tiwa the Wise Monkey, Letty G Properties, Boom Drinks, iShow Gadgets, La Casera, Crunchy Cheese Balls, and Fan Meal. Don't miss out on 32FM's Laughter Santa 2023. See you there.
Feel better about your life.
32 FM 94.9, the antidote to depression. Just because you do not take an interest in politics doesn't mean politics won't take an interest in you.
The funds spent were properly spent because we got them from intervention funds.
You only you waka come. There is God.
I don't know which party my wife belongs to, but she belongs to my kitchen and my living room and the other room.
Stay in tune with politics on 32 FM 94.9.
Welcome back, 32 FM 94.9. The program is The Podium. My name is OLORUNTOBA. YUSUF Chief Akintola is still with us. Virtually, Professor Remi Ayede is with us as well. So also Barrister Yomi Ogunlola. So let me bring on Professor Remi Ayede now. Prof. Hello, Prof.
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, so
yes. As Barrister said, we really didn't get him very clearly, but I think he made reference to the argument that 3 judges are not good enough to determine the fate of petitions around elections, and that it shouldn't be a major issue. I think that there are 2 ways that he needs to address the question. The first question I think he has addressed. The second one, which he has stated to address, is the very fact that there is cause for concern about the fairness or the integrity of the judicial system itself. And you have tried to draw his attention to some of the challenges in terms of the kind of decisions that are coming from the courts. Not only are they sometimes contradictory, the decisions are so shoddily prepared, and then there are controversies that then follow, which paint the judiciary as very unserious and unreliable. So these are the issues that we want him to talk about. And because the Nigerian judiciary was not always like that, what has really happened? Is it that the training of judges have become problematic, or incompetent individuals have found their way into the bench? Or, as is commonly also assumed, that there's political interference, or on the other hand, that they are also susceptible to corruption? These are fundamental issues because we say the judiciary is the last hope of the common man. And when we're discussing the issue of the local government, I was insisting that the governor has no right, to self-help or to take the law into his hands. If he thinks that the election was bad, he should go to the courts. Now, if we have courts, as Barrister raised, that we don't believe in, that we think justice is up for sale, and things like that, and then how do we begin to deal with these issues? Because some retiring judge also raised alarm about the judiciary they met and the one they are leaving, and then the kind of rot that has crept in over the years. These are fundamental issues we think that, to use barristers, that a learned Sikh should be worried about, and should really have been thinking about, and we want to get his thoughts on these issues.
Right. So, Chief Akintola, I don't know if you heard Professor Ayede, some of the things he raised. He says he wants you to give reactions to some of these issues. Yes.
Hello?
Chief, yes. Go ahead, sir.
Are those questions meant for me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Well, I think a lot of issues were lumped together in the questions. And that was why I said, well, those questions were meant for me, because some of them are addressed. You see, like I did say, Nigeria is a country of anything goes. Nigeria is a country where some people think what they do not know does not exist. And they think they have liberty to comment on every issue, even when they are so ignorant of the issue they are commenting on. You see, legal issue is not for every Tom and Harry to comment on. When you are talking about the judiciary, talking about the personalities there, do you expect anything different from what you are getting? It's garbage in, garbage out. You expect to find a virgin in maternity ward, right? You have a situation where every segment of the society have been so bastardized that there's not one that you can pinpoint to say, well, this one is the best, or it has some modicum of credibility or integrity. So far, of the three arms of government, the judiciary is still the best by my own reckoning. And we have a society where everybody is a disco critic, where everybody will just make comment and they don't listen to other people, just themselves alone. And what do you expect? We have a judiciary where some the social media, which the social media want to take over. Where does that happen in any civilized world? We have a society that expects public opinion to prevail on the law of the land. So what do you expect? Public opinion, as defined by Lodeni, as stated by Lodeni, that is an unruly horse. When you get astride it, it takes you to where you don't. Where you don't expect. That's the tenets of public morality. What is morally despicable in one society is morally acceptable in another society. So it's not what any civilized society will rely on. Say public opinion. And people like some people will come around and say, people will say, who are those people? When was the statistics collected? What are the data available at your disposal? So when the interviewer asks me such question, say people are saying, who are the people? When you take the census, we should be logical here. Now, coming back to the subject matter of the judiciary, like I did say, you don't expect a virgin in a maternity ward. When you have a society that is so deplorable, you don't expect, it's garbage in, garbage out. It's what you have in the society there, the type of people you have in the society that you put into the law school, and the type you put into the law school that becomes lawyer, the time they become lawyer that you push into the judiciary. So what do you expect?
Okay.
See, I am a realist. I belong to the realist school. And our society, the law is based on what it is, not what ought to be. It's not what ought to be. This is something the people must get into their head to appreciate. That law is not about what you feel, about your feeling, about your emotion. No. It's about what is in the statute book. And before you start casting stone against any judge, go to your National Assembly and point it out to them that they should amend the law. A judge is able to interpret the law. Simplicity. It's not about what he sees on the road while coming to the courtroom. It is what, like I did say a little while ago, Obi said he had 40,000 polling units manned by his polling agents. 40,000 is just 23% of the entire 176,000. So if I were a judge there, I would dismiss his case that day, that very day. But because of the fear of social media, some people felt that, and like I did say at one of the hearings, that I don't have such patience. In fact, the justices that decided Obi's case were too patient for my liking. They were too patient. That was a matter that should not even command the attention of the justices. Those trained in the art of law. You see, if you are saying that you have 10,000 in your room, 10,000 naira in your room, and you are claiming that somebody has stolen your 100,000 naira, where do you keep the remaining 90? Why should anybody entertain such complaints? That's the logic, and that is the position of the law as we met it.
Right.
But to the uninitiated, to the uninformed, they say they didn't hear him. He was not even allowed to. No, there are procedures for doing things.
Right.
Things must be done systematically.
Right.
I'm not saying that all is right or well with the Nigerian judiciary, but I've answered that question by saying that it is the society that breeds this type of justice you have.
Okay. So Chief.
Yes.
Chief, if this is society that brings it to us, because I understand what you're saying, that we have challenges everywhere, in every strata of our nation. Yes, I get it. But
Even including the
judiciary,
clergy.
yes, but the judiciary is still seen as that beacon, of hope, that beacon of democracy. So if you're admitting that it's still a reflection of our society, I mean, people have talked about the reforms that need to be done. Justice Datijo used his valedictory speech to also raise some issues with the judiciary as well. So should we just leave it this way? Or what are the reforms we should be looking towards having in judiciary? Agreeing with you that it's not perfect as a reflection of our society. Agreeing with you. So what are the reforms we should be looking at?
You see, my brother, I don't want to comment on His Lordship, Justice Datijo. He's a man I respect so much, and I'm very close to him. But to say that I'm disappointed at his comment is because there are so many things behind the scenes things that are happening. I was discussing with one of your colleagues, a senior journalist yesterday, just last night, who was a former spokesperson to the president. And we are discussing this. He came to me and he said, why people like us are not? I said, there are things that will go to the grave with you. No, it's not everything you see or know that. If I should speak on the same Datijo, what he wanted. Because the judiciary is to be seen and not heard. If the CJN should remind him or should reply him as to what happened, what he did, what caused the katakata between the two, the conflict between the two before he went to public, will he like it? We have been on the offense telling the man not to reply. No. There are certain facts we know about himself over the issue he raised. So, but again, it's like the part of the country where I come from, Yoruba land, they tell you that it's not everything you know that you talk about.
Right. Okay. Let me.
And that's why also we dare not write our memo. We dare not say anything because we know too much. We know some of these people. You see, when people take solace in the social media, and it's just like an African Nigerian politician. When he fails in his attempt to grab power, he will resort to other ethnic or religious card. These are the kind of things that's happening.
Right. Okay.
So, I don't want to comment about him further other than that.
Okay.
But to say that all is well if our society is not true, and you can, my own take is that you cannot just single out judiciary as the whipping boy when everywhere is thinking. When we got told this to the winds, you see, even the churches, in the mosque, So what are you talking about?
Okay, let me bring.
What we need is a rejuvenation of the society itself. People will say that the Yoruba people will say people want fear, tell them palapalapa. Can't we see that everything is crumbling on our head? This is only the usual. If you reform the usual, what of the other sector of the society? What of the other section of the society? What do we do about our religious our clergies have turned to, in the name of God, PSC, our churches and mosques? Tell me, which society does the kind of thing that people will leave their job on Monday, Tuesday, going to the church or mosque? Who are praying so much? On our platform yesterday, somebody was castigating Pastor for telling them the truth that he's a Christian. I remain there. Who is questioning his Christianity? We are saying, the man was saying that Nigeria prays too much. The time you have been spending working, the Nigeria that doesn't work for Saturday and Sundays.
Right.
Deduct that 52 days from your 365 days in a year. Add it to all the useless holidays we are having. And the man was saying, look, about 100 days you are not working. So how do you expect to progress? And somebody is saying that he is a Christian. Who is questioning his Christianity? Those who brought the religions to go to their country and say, well, they work on Saturdays, they work on Sunday, they work on even on Fridays before Jumat. So what are we talking about? You see, we don't want to sanitize the entire society. We just like picking one, leaving the other. So let us face our problems squarely. We have problems on our hands.
All right. Right.
The society is crumbling. The family life is no longer there. The same family has crumbled completely. No respect for elders again. Nothing is working. People don't want to work. They just want to live. When you and I, I'm happy Professor Ayede is there. When you and I were coming on board in the 80s, we knew how we've met the society. Is it the same thing today? The younger ones now want to climb the tree from the top. Nobody is talking about working. They are not getting functional education. You see?
Okay, Chief. Let me.
What kind of thing we are talking? We are
Right.
just talking about picking out this. What if you pick this? The judicial? Where do you leave the legislative government? Where do you leave the executive? Where do you leave the press?
Right.
Is the press what it used to do today? What it used to be today?
Right. Okay. Let me bring in Barrister Ogunlola now and Prof. As we wrap up with you, Chief. I don't know if they have.
Barrister.
Yeah, Barrister Ogunlola and Professor Ayede. Those are the two people with us, the panelists.
Okay.
Yes. So
Thank
Barrister
you very
Ogunlola
much.
first, and then Prof.
Okay. Thank you very much. Even though most of what the learned silk is saying are barely audible to us, for the little that we hear, we will respond to. And I wish to crave, the indulgence of the House to vehemently disagree with the silk on his submission on the judiciary. If our judiciary is a reflection rather than a solution to societal legal problems, as the silk submits, then it's most unfortunate. And he has no basis condemning public opinion. That's number one. Secondly, the standard for assessing the quality of judgments, the recognized standard for assessing the quality of judgments is a reasonable man's test. The reasonable man on the street must leave the courtroom satisfied that justice has been done. Is the learned silk opinionating to the contrary by condemning public opinion? That's my question.
Okay, Chief.
In the first place, I concede to you your right to disagree with me. We're in a democratic society. But like I did say, I don't dwell on speculation. I don't dwell on public opinion. The learned jurist, Lodeni, had said it, that public opinion is an unruly horse. Public morality has no place in law, and I insist on that. That is for the sociologists and the academics to subject to analysis. It's not for practical people like us. I belong to the realist school. So for those who have read Jeremy Bentham and Augustine and all the different school of thought, they are free to hold it. But I am a practitioner. I'm on the field. I'm in the operation theater. I'm not a side commentator. No. You see, if my learned friend had been in and out of the courtroom, like you said, I wouldn't know how many of the cases they had handled that is of reference point in this country. Perhaps his thought would have been different. But like I did say, you have your right to disagree. Public opinion should not sway a competent judiciary. It is not done anywhere in the world. And I challenge you to give me one area in the world, whether it is the US, Australia, UK, Canada, even in South Africa, where public opinion prevails. No. And I refer you to the popular case of Charles against Regina. During the Second World War, Regina was said to be a spy, a Briton, a spy, and he was caught. And everybody wanted him lynched at Trafalgar Square. But Lord Dennis disagreed when the matter was brought before him. He still has to be subjected to the regular procedure, the regular rules. That is the civilized thing to do. And it is the absence of that in that way that we're now having mob rule, mob this, mob that. You see, I don't come to the public to say something that the public will applaud me for. No, it is the reality we are talking about here. As a statesman, You don't expect me to join the gang of the bangwa of the disco critics, because who only listen to themselves? Who don't listen to that? And may that day never come when our judiciary become judiciary of public opinion. May that day never come.
Right.
Because we have gone back to the Stone Age.
Right. Okay, let me bring in Professor Ayede now for his final question before we let Chief go this morning. Prof?
Yeah, I think he needs to revisit the question of redeeming light. If we say the university is a reflection of society, the church is a reflection of society, the judiciary is a reflection of society. So where is the redeeming light for society? What about the institutions that are also set up to address some of these things? Like the EFCC, the ICPC. So why are we? Is he saying that we are pretending that some of these social malfeasance at various levels can be addressed? How did the society come to be like this? Somebody must be responsible, and somebody must take responsibility for change. I think he needs to address that.
All right, Chief, go ahead.
Now, that's the thing I did, and I'm not expecting anything less. Like you did say, we know that what is happening is the creation of the society, and where do you go from there? That's a good question. Our present predicament call for all hands to be on deck. Even the academia, which you belong, is no longer what it used to be. It's not what you and I met when we were in the university. So, for us to come out of this state of quagmire, need empirical analysis for you, especially you as a researcher. Now, when you look at the socio-political and economic predicament facing us in this country today, if you took Nigerian structure or Nigerian political scene as a case study, the elites, you and I, are part of the problems. We, in one hand, will be clamoring for federal system of government. In another hand, we'll be clamoring for those things that are directly opposite federal system. Like people asking for uniform salaries. Somebody teaching University of Ibadan, we want to hand the same salary that his counterparts in Lautech. Where is that done in the world? You and I have traveled far and wide. We did some researches abroad. You know that professors in the university, they don't hand the same salaries. You are paid according to your terms of employment, according to your level of productivity. You even have reports by the students on you, recommending you, assessing you. But do you have had that here? When OLORUNTOBA brought that relief package, I said, okay, look, let us train experts in medicine. Let people become specialists. Abroad, where you and I are sending our children to go and become experts, we pay. In Nigeria here, the recent doctors will hold you and I to ransom. And these are people being trained by you and I with taxpayers' money to become experts. Now, the same OLORUNTOBA brought issue of sabbatical. And you know that part of the ICPC has said that frown at double salaries. But our friends and our compatriots in the universities, they will leave the University of Ibadan to go and do sabbatical in LabTech, or they will have salaries on both sides. I know that has become an issue with the ICPC sometimes with ASU. And you see, our problems are legions. Our problems are legion. All we need to do is to come back to the days of our, you see, like I did say, family system has collapsed. You and I, your children can no longer wake up and say, we want to go and spend holiday Christmas with his brother without giving him advance notice. And that was what you and I look forward to when we are younger. You and I were in that same university where you are teaching now. We are having chicken as part of our meal, our protein 3 times a week. How much are we paying? We are enjoying bursary. Is that the case today? And so instead of addressing the fundamental issues, we keep on scratching it on the surface. That's our problem on the surface. We need to do an holistic analysis, holistic approach. I mean, of our problems. Our problems are legions.
Right.
It's not limited to the judiciary or to the academies or to what have you.
Thank
Look
you so
at
much.
the case of Pilgrim Welfare Board. How long a Christian Jeremiah introduced Pilgrim Welfare Board to ease the risk of going to Mecca by the Muslim. It was not meant to be a commercial something. The government have hijacked it now.
Right.
Some are even putting money for it in their budget. Was that what you and I met?
Okay. Right.
Things have gone so bad, so wrong that you don't even know which one to pick first.
Right.
Today, how many houses you can figure how many houses had Aketola Akilo in Ibadan? How many? Today, a local government chairman will hold the entire street. Nobody is speaking. Somebody spoke about local government a little while ago. In every federal system of God, show me one anywhere in the world where federal system is based on 3 tiers of government. No, there are 2. Local governments are meant to be under the state. Under OLORUNTOBA, there was local government. Malema never interfered with it. The central never interfered with it. We had state police, local government police, we had federal police, and each and every one of them had its own jurisdiction. But what are we having today? And somebody was talking about a senator got up the other day, incidentally from my state, advocating for INEC to go and conduct elections in local. I was taking about, and I called him. I said, look, in one breath you're asking for true federalism. In another breath, you are saying that INEC should go and conduct local government election. We love cutting our nose to spite our face most of the time.
Okay. Thank you so much, Chief Niyi Akintola, for joining us on the show. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure having you here on the podium. Thank you very much for being a part of the show.
Welcome, my brother.
Thank you so much, Chief Niyi Akintola is here. Thank you so much. Yes. Right. Yes, Chief Niyi Akintola there. Well, it's been an explosive one with him. Let me just see if we could take some comments. I see Prof, he seemed to know you very well, Prof.
Yeah, we were classmates in the master's class at the University of Ibadan.
Yes.
And we've been friends since then.
Yes, okay. Oh, well, let me take some comments on Facebook, and let's see if we can take 1 or 2 calls before we leave the program this morning. Okay, on Facebook, this one says, why is it difficult for the legislators to follow the rules and regulation as related to the executive if they truly are performing oversight functions? That's Okediro Batunde. It says, we have some people in the country, you begin to wonder, why is Nigeria in this state? Kudos to our guest and analyst in the house. 0705 5949 08097 000949. Let's see if we can take 1 or 2 before we go. It says, good day, friends in the house. We have several laws, we already follow it to, or selective. We're selective in court judgment to obey. Executive does not or hardly obey court pronouncement. Why can't governor allow the councilmen to serve their tenure since they were elected by the people? It's just that we are selective in the court judgment. Olukoya Kayode Pomile says, why is the guest the one taking up? Okay, thank you. It says, Chief Niyi Akintola is a lawyer of repute. He has information, and if given all the time, he will continue talking. It says, your guest is not doing justice at all. He doesn't own this. Okay, thank you. Thank you for your comment. It says, we have some people, I think I've taken that one. Okay, Prof, and Barrister, you appear to disagree with the position of the guest on several issues. In fact, some of the comments, although I've been trying to do a live edit of the comment on Facebook, many people also disagree with him. But as he said to you, Barrister, it's a democracy, and he would give you the right to disagree with some of the things he expressed. And one thing he said actually is that our society is at this state, and every sector we criticize is a reflection of society, that we should take a holistic look and not single out the judiciary. And he says, look, at the end of the day, judiciary is still the best, regardless of the problems that we're facing. Let me start with Barrister as a wrap up, and then I go to Prof.
Thank you very much. Well, that is his opinion.
Yeah.
You understand? That is purely his opinion. As far as I am concerned, that is the most critical sector in any country. It is the window through which we view the democracy in any country. If the judiciary is a reflection of society, we are doomed. We are doomed. That's just the long and short of the matter. You see, those who build nations, philosopher kings, are expected to be above board. That's why they are called philosopher kings. Because if he comes in now and says, well, judiciary is a reflection of the society, of course, that is the argument of our argument to justify our presidents and the rest of them. No, absolutely. We should not have people who are a reflection of society as our leaders. We want people who will lead. That's what it takes to lead the people, is to know more than the people, to be better educated. But
they will also emerge.
To be better informed than the people.
They would also emerge from this society. That's it. I mean, they won't fall from the sky.
Of course, they emerge in every society.
Yes.
When you see bad eggs that are not supposed to be there, for instance, look at the NJC case that just came out of the judge who was indicted in these Ganishi cases. Somebody who ought to have been dismissed, they are telling him to go and retire. People stealing innocent Nigerians' money from their bank accounts. Their NJC is telling him to go and retire. It shouldn't be so. So the judiciary should be above board. The leaders of the country should be above board. That's why they elected them. Only those people who have those qualities should hold themselves out for positions of authority in the country.
Right. Let me go to Prof now. Prof, societal decay, societal value decay, that's what he said.
Just to add,
yes.
when you look at even the provisions of the Constitution on the appointments of people into certain positions, the qualities expected of them are clearly stated. We don't expect them to reflect society. We don't expect them to be like everybody on the street. We expect them to be exceptional, to people of high integrity, people who are properly trained and competent. Those things are written down. So coming out to now say that something like this is a reflection of society, it's strange. Then we have institutions to even check those occupying those positions. We have the National Judicial Council, and which is the point that Barrister is making, that instead of them to apply the full punishment stipulated for certain behavior, they are saying retire and go and rest. Now, how do you expect, for instance, I approach you and I say I'm a professor of the University of Ibadan, and then I behave in certain ways? Will you not open your mouth and say, how can a professor be behaving like this? So if an Agbero behaves in a certain way, you can live with it. I mean, look at the case of the lecturer who assaulted a student who was recalcitrant. Even in our discussions on WhatsApp, nobody said that what the student did was right. But everybody focused on the lecturer. Even in the worst of cases, the lecturer is not expected to lose his temper, to attack a student. So please, I think we must recognize that there are standards of behavior expected of elites. We don't. That's why we cry every day. We don't expect elites who are in power. Today you say you don't need the money of government to survive, to live. Tomorrow you are in power. You are using 1.5 billion public money to buy cars. Did we keep quiet? We said no. Should not be.
Right.
So I think it's important for us to emphasize the fact that the elites embody the vision of society.
Right.
And they must demonstrate their commitment to that vision through their behavior and their conduct while in positions of importance.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Barrister. Thank you, Prof, as well, for joining us on the show. Special thanks to our two guests earlier, Chief Nia Kintola and the chairman of the Red Cross Society here in Oyo State. It's been an amazing time on the podium, as usual. We'll be back next Saturday on the program. Thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday morning. My name is OLORUNTOBA YUSUF. Bye for now.